Hello, and welcome to Hyrulean Chronicles, a podcast from the Play Talk Repeat crew where we review and go in depth on the story of the entire Legend of Zelda timeline. I'm Oliver, and I'm joined by Lewis and Alex.
Yo, yo, yo.
Hello.
This episode, we're continuing to go down the Fallen Hero timeline with the OG, A Legend of Zelda, released on the NES way back in the golden age of 1986. As always, I'm going to begin with the story between this game and the previous game, which was Triforce Heroes. So, after the events of A Link Between Worlds and Triforce Heroes, Hyrule enters a golden era. Generation of kings successfully govern the land with the strength of the reassembled Triforce. The last king of Hyrule, doubting his son's worthiness of the throne, hides the Triforce of Courage. Upon his death, he casts a spell on Hyrule that it may only reappear when a young man worthy of wielding it emerges. The only person that knows the secret location of the Triforce of Courage is the king's daughter, Zelda. The prince inherits the throne, but with it only the Triforces of power and wisdom. Using the powers of a magician, the new king questions Princess Zelda on the location of the Triforce of Courage, but she refuses to give up its location. The magician then forces her into an eternal sleep, and she is placed on an altar in the castle. The prince, filled with regret, decrees that all women born into the Hyrulean royal family will henceforth be known as Zelda. I don't know how we can enforce that, but to save us being confused, we'll refer to the Zelda that is cursed into eternal sleep as Princess Zelda 1, because she'll come into the story later. Without the full power of the Triforce, Hyrule falls into an era of decline. The Triforce of power and wisdom continues to be passed down within the royal family, but the existence of the Triforce of Courage is completely forgotten. So,
I remember all that happening when I booted up the game. It was really good.
So a lot of that, a lot of everything that I read there was actually setting up the story for Legend of Zelda 2, but it all happens before the first Legend of Zelda. But like the Princess Zelda 1 being asleep, that's all setting up the story for Legend of Zelda 2.
So what's he doing in Zelda 1? What is that all about then?
Oh, we'll get to that when we get to the story of Zelda 1. Don't you worry.
Right. Okay.
You'll learn it all firsthand. So it's opening statements time, and I'm gonna go for Alex today. Give us an opening statement, brief summary, and just go, please.
Right, okay. Game's pretty boring. I would never, ever play it again. All the dungeons look exactly the same. All the bosses are shit. The world is a pain to navigate unless you have a map that tells you everything that you need to do, especially with like, oh, you need to burn the 5th bush from the right on this screen, and then go 3 screens left, and then 3 down. It's not fun. I gave it a 3 out of 10. That's a generous 3 as well.
A 3 out of 10. Right, so that's one negative Nancy out of the way. Lewis?
Mine. I don't know why I said mine.
Mine.
My review basically, or my initial impressions, is basically it's very similar to Alex's. I respect that it's a game of its time, and when the game was first released, the whole idea of it. Well, first of all, for starters, it was essentially a blueprint for every game that came after it in its specific genre, and I can appreciate it for that. I understand at the time children had nothing else to do other than smack their head against the wall for 900 years to find every single secret, and I know the point of the game when it came out was to like act as like a thing that you could talk about between friends, and you could discuss your secrets with each other at school and whatever, and in different communities, and that was like the whole sort of point of the game when it came out, and that's what like the vision was for it. But as a game in 2022, obviously the game has like massively shown its age. I don't think there's any real reason to play it unless you just really want to know what the first Zelda was like, but even then I wouldn't suggest you need to complete it, because I didn't really gain much satisfaction from completing the game at all. I could have been happy playing it for 5 minutes and I would have pretty much got the entire idea of the game. I'm also giving it a 3. We're rating these games honestly and rating them as they are now, and even though obviously it was incredibly influential, it is very much just a product of its time, and I don't think it really offers much in the gaming space in like the modern day, really. It's just sort of like a neat little thing to look back on and go, that was cool. But yeah, I'd give it a 3. And that's honestly just because I don't really know what to give it, because I don't want to give it a 1 because it isn't an unplayable mess. But like, did I enjoy it as much as I would like a 3 game? I don't know. The entire experience of the game was just through a guide, so I don't know. It's an experience for sure, but not a very fun one, essentially.
So, I really struggled scoring this because, like you say, we got to score it as it is now, right, in the year of 2022. But in the year of 2022, we do have emulators with rewind functions. We do have full maps, you know what I mean? So, the issue I had with this game was I had a lot of fun playing it. Like, a lot of fun. It's not a good game. It's not. In the year of 2022, it's not. But with a map open, with a rewind function on an emulator, I had a lot of fun playing this game. I thought it was fun seeing where it all came from. It reminded me a bit of a Link Between Worlds, like with its like no nonsense dungeon after dungeon gameplay. You know what I mean? There wasn't any messing about between dungeons if you didn't want to. You could just go straight to a dungeon, complete it. You know what I mean? So I gave it a 6 out of 10 because I enjoyed myself playing this game. There was a few frustrating bits, but if you have a walkthrough open, then it all solves itself. I think like beyond the last boss fight, I wasn't ever like really angry or anything like that. But it was fun.
I think if a game requires you to physically be handed every single detail of it and be required to rewind it in order to enjoy it, then the game is next to an unplayable experience, pretty much. And I don't think that should be any way warranted like a good game or an enjoyable game. Like, there's nothing about that game that you did of your own accord. It was everything, literally every little bit of it was given to you. And at that point, it's just, I don't know. At that point, to me at least, there's just not a game there to enjoy.
Well, you got to go way back to 1980 something, right?
But we're not in 1980.
No, we're not, right? But so Nintendo Power at the time will have had a full guide of this game in it, guaranteed. When this game released, a full guide will have been in the magazine. Because again, it is the only time you can. It is the only
will
way
there
you
have
can
been a full guide, or will it have been pieces of guide, and they will have wanted you to call up the hotline to find out the secrets?
I mean, they've got nothing to gain. They've got nothing to gain from that because the hotline was free.
Was it?
Yeah.
I'm sure they earned money from it somehow. I refuse to believe that was fully free.
As far as I know, other than your standalone rate, it was free. But Nintendo Power at the time did have full guides for lots of games.
But I don't know. In my head, I'm sure
to buy the magazine.
I'm sure Nintendo. I don't know. I feel like money-wise, it would have just been better for them to sell guides specifically for Legend of Zelda instead of giving it away in Nintendo Power.
I'm not sure if game guides were a thing back then, like actual like.
No, I don't think they were.
I mean, this probably invented it. If anything, this is probably the reason why we need them.
But yeah, so Nintendo Power back then had full guides for a lot of games, like even like Mario games and stuff like that. It would tell you all the secrets, kind of thing. So it was developed. This game was developed with that in mind. Like I feel like I'm defending the game too much because in the year of our Lord 2022, it is arse. It is, but I had fun playing it, and that's the only thing that I can rate this on, considering how different of a time it is from when it came out to now.
I just read up on it. The guide was a collection, so every issue you got a bit more of the guide that you could put together.
God, they knew how to sell magazines.
Yeah, so you just kept having to buy the next issue to get the next one.
You missed a magazine.
Yeah, exactly. You just don't know what happened.
Just be thankful that this was what was this. There's a first game that had a save function in the cartridge.
I believe so.
Yeah, but you had to kill yourself to save.
Did you?
Wait, did you?
Yeah.
Oh, right,
Yeah.
To be fair, now that I think about it, I don't remember ever being able to pause it and press save, I guess. But
Yeah,
you had to kill yourself and it would say save. That's
yeah,
why
but at least it did have a save. It's nice of them.
We need to like go into the actual points I've got in my notes here. But I just want to say, like, when you died in this game, I thought it was going to be like it would hurt your soul when you died because of the amount that you lost. But everything that you had at the point of your death, you've still got. You just go back to the beginning area of the game, and the map isn't that big, so I never felt like I was being completely fucked over when I died.
I can't lie, I didn't die. That's because anytime I was about to die, I just rewinded it. So.
I started rewinding. I think after the first dungeon, I just wanted to see what it was like and how it like actually felt to play and stuff like that. But I like you. If I could get a replay of my gameplay without the actual rewinding happening, it would look like Neo from the Matrix because the amount of near misses. So just like it's almost as if I could predict what they were gonna shoot. Anyway, right, so moving on to the actual to the point. So graphically, what do we think of the game? Obviously, it's a NES. It is an NES game 35 years ago.
I mean, I think it looks fine. I mean, obviously the NES is a very limited color palette. It has like a handful of like colors it can actually use. I did notice that a lot, especially in the dungeons, because a lot of them end up just sharing the same colors and looking exactly the same. It's just one like solid block of color in every single dungeon, and that's about it. But I don't really have any like gripes with the way it looks. I don't overly mind NES stuff. I think it's aged much worse than SNES stuff for sure. But I still don't think it looks bad. I mean, I think it's definitely playable. It doesn't hinder my experience at all. I think it looks fine, to be honest, for the most part.
I agree. I think it looks clean.
Yeah, I agree as well.
Yeah, I think it looks clean. Like, I think
you know what everything is.
Yeah, you know exactly what everything is. It was fun seeing like again, like some of the enemies in this game are still in Zelda games today. It was fun seeing like the first iterations and stuff like that. I think with the limitations that they had, they did make each area seem different enough, especially on like the overworld. Maybe not in the dungeons, like you say, they all look very similar. They just got a different color palette. But I think in the overworld, like some of the areas did look like different. You could recognize it from without looking at a map.
Yeah, for the most part.
I think Metroid did it better with the same limitations. I think the original Metroid.
Yeah, for sure.
Nailed the atmospheres and stuff like that better. But yeah, I thought it was pretty good. Alex, anything to add?
No, it's just an NES game, innit?
Okay. So we've already been slagging it off quite a lot, but have we got any more like glaring issues with the game I want to bring up?
Issues other than not being able to do anything about a guy.
Let's do this another way. All right, imagine you are 8 years old in the year 1986.
Okay.
Do you see yourself having fun with the game? Would you see these issues?
No, but that's because as a child, I couldn't tell you every video game I played as a young child. I don't think I ever went down. This game stinks, or I hate this game. I would just the thought wouldn't even cross my mind that it was a bad game. I would just keep playing it until it was over, and then I'd be like, yay. And so
I'll play again.
As a kid, I wouldn't notice any of these issues at all. I would have a lot of fun with it.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to think of any specific issues.
The only thing I could think of is having in some dungeons there was some bombable walls, but you could never tell that they were bombable, and then it was the only way to go.
I actually thought in this game it was one of the better ones to tell if it was bombable, purely because it'd be gapped out in the map if you picked up the map.
Yeah, there's only a few bombable walls that aren't on maps, and they're all optional as far as I'm aware.
Like out of all of the Zelda games, I actually found this one of the easier to see.
One of them did have walls that were like rooms that weren't on the map, so it was quite confusing to get to grips.
It was 7. You needed to blow a hole in the wall in one of the old man's rooms, I think it was.
Oh yeah, when when he says you need to, he says you have to like blow up the wall to the left of him. He says like you need to go back a room or something. He says something like that.
Yeah, something like that. It's just like.
But I mean,
without
again,
a guide, I would not know.
Yeah, but I don't know.
I was pretty stupid as a kid.
To me, that wasn't a specific issue because I mean that's the same as the entire. Everything in the game requires that sense of. There's literally no way I'd know. I need to break this or go this way or walk up this invisible wall or door or whatever.
It was definitely worse in the overworld, definitely.
Well, yeah, because in the overworld it would actually take the piss because sometimes it would feel like you were just glitching. You just walk up the side of a mountain and it'd be like, okay, fair enough, I suppose. Like, would I have been able to figure this out? Even if I had infinite time, would I have been able to figure this out? I actually have no clue. No. I feel like if I ever did find out, it would be by complete accident. The bush thing I could sort of get behind is just I would power my way through every single bush until something happened.
Yeah, there's no magic meter, is there? So you could burn everything if you wanted.
I mean, that is one thing I did appreciate, since we keep slagging it off, I did appreciate how that it wasn't limited arrows and limited magic and all that. That would have made the game absolute hell if it was like that.
Use your rupees for the arrows.
You do use your rupees for the arrows. It costs 1 rupee per arrow.
Yep.
Maybe that's why I kept fucking running out. Because I was following a guy and I was like, this guy's way more rupees than me, man. Where am I getting new rupees? He's probably just spamming them away. Damn, okay, fair enough. I actually didn't know that. Well, screw the game.
Well, you know.
I was trying to praise it. Screw the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the point I was trying to make was like, so if I was, because my first console was the NES, and I think if I actually had this game, I think I did have that. I remember having the gold cartridge, but I don't ever remember putting it into my NES. Maybe it's because I was stuck up while playing Mario or something. But I think if I actually booted this up, I would have had a good time with this, like just exploring the worlds and stuff like that. Because when you're a kid, you don't have these like goals or anything like that. You don't think, right, I need to get to this dungeon and do that. You just piss about. And
I fully agree. Yeah, at the time I would have, but I mean, as an adult, I mean, especially with stuff like this, I'm very aware that my time is like somewhat limited, and I'm like, I want to beat this game as quick as possible, because why would I sit here for 7 hours just burning every bush to see what's going to like actually break when I know I can beat it in about an hour and a half if I just look it up? Yeah, as a kid, I didn't give a shit, but like that was with any game. Like I said, like every single game, I would just power my way through it until it was beaten, regardless of if someone would consider it a bad game or not fun. That never crossed my mind as a child. I would have absolutely loved this game if I played it when I was younger.
Yeah.
But obviously, it's hard to assess that now being older.
We know better. Yeah.
Yeah.
So one more thing before we get on to the actual story of the game. Did anyone else have like issues with the controls in the first like 30 minutes?
Yeah, well, I had issues with the controls all the way up to the end of the game, just in the fact of the main thing that would happen for me is when in combat, I would like press down to like hit where the enemy is, and instinctively, because I'm used to most other games, I would like turn the other direction quick to go do something else, and it was always too quick for the game to handle. So as a result, I'd turn and then try to turn somewhere else, but it wouldn't, and then I'd be constantly getting hit by the thing I was trying to like walk away from, or I'd completely miss what I was trying to hit because I'd turn away too quickly. I found the combat in general to be quite finicky, and especially in the later dungeons, it did get quite aggravating with some enemies. Just because, yeah, I thought the controls were just a bit difficult to use at some points.
Yeah, I think I tried 3 or 4 different controllers, including a mouse and keyboard, and it was actually, weirdly enough, the Xbox's D-pad that I managed to like get to grips with the controls the most, because like you said, there is a weird delay in the way they move. It's not instant. So yeah, it was the Xbox Series X controller, which is weird because it's not the best D-pad in the world. It's rounded for a start.
Yeah, it's rounded. I don't know how that's even
strange.
Yeah. So let's get into the story of the game. So, generations after Zelda 1 is put into an eternal sleep, an army led by a revived Ganon attacks Hyrule, and Ganon himself steals the Triforce of Power from the royal family. To keep the Triforce of Wisdom out of Ganon's hands, the current Princess Zelda splits it into 8 pieces and hides the pieces in 8 dungeons across the land of Hyrule. Zelda then sends her nursemaid Impa to find someone with the courage to defeat Ganon. Zelda is then imprisoned while Ganon sends out his minions to find Impa. Link comes across Impa as she is being attacked by Ganon's henchmen. Link drives off the attackers, and Impa then decides this is the hero of which Zelda spoke. Link travels the land to find the 8 pieces of the Triforce of Wisdom. Having collected them, he confronts Ganon in Death Mountain and defeats the Demon King using the Triforce of Wisdom, the magical sword, and silver arrows. Zelda then declares Link the hero of Hyrule. So pretty standard.
Yeah, pretty much every other Zelda story.
It obviously set the standard for every single Zelda ever. And
yeah, I mean, literally, yeah.
As far as NES games go, it's probably got more story than the vast majority of them.
Like 99% of them.
But there's not much to say, really, is there? There's no. It's funny how there's a magical sword and no Master Sword, but obviously that wasn't a concept back then. Like the Master Sword wasn't a thing. When did that come into it? Was it?
That will have been
Link to the Past.
Link to the Past, 100%.
Yeah. Link to the Past. So there's not really much to say. It just sets the standard. It would have been cool in the day, but you got to read it in the manual, and then you got to let the imagination do the rest as you're playing, like with most NES games, because NES doesn't give you any kind of story. There's very, very few like cutscenes or anything like that.
Yeah.
So we'll just move on to favorite and least favorite dungeon.
Oh, I don't know, you know.
I'm
That
I'm
one
just
that looked like ET, that looks amazing, you know.
I'm just gonna get this out of the way really quick because I want to be brutally honest with this. I don't want to like lie my way for it. I could not, even looking
Differentiate
at
them.
all the levels, could not tell you why I would have liked one dungeon over the other. They were all pretty much the same dungeon. I can't think of any distinctive features in any of them. The one I hated the most, probably, which is whichever dungeon introduced the little cloaked guys, the yellow guys and the blue guys.
That's also my least favorite. The wizard, because it was the dragon, by the way. That was the dungeon that it was, and it's because it's constant whiz ropes.
Like I hate
absolute
them.
constant.
They're the hardest enemies to kill, and they're like no mercy either. They do so much damage, and they just bombard you. It's horrible.
Well, it's like 2 hearts at a time, isn't it? For a time.
Well, exactly. Yeah. That's the thing, though. Without rewinding, I legit don't get how you'd get through those rooms. Like, at all. I had, like, max hearts, and I was, like, taking damage, like, constantly. And I was actually, like, trying to, like, strategize and, like, actually work my way around the enemies. It's just not possible. The moment you stand into their line of sight, it's just instant, just zap, 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 it's over. So, I mean, anyone who did that as a kid, like, fair enough. But, yeah, like, I can't give, like, a rating for my favorite dungeon. They're all just the same dungeon.
Exact same, different colors.
Yeah.
You don't got a favorite, Alex? No.
No, they're all exactly the same.
My favorite is the demon because you've got to feed a hungry gorilla. I thought that was pretty. That was pretty.
Oh
Fun.
yeah, you give it a piece of meat.
Give it a piece of meat and it.
Well, I didn't have the rupees for the meat. It was like, oh, get the meat. I was like, oh, just get it later. I don't need it now. So I went halfway through the dungeon. You just can't get past.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Oh right, you need it.
It's similar to the old man in the Triforce in the last dungeon. It just doesn't let you through.
Oh yeah. Also, I mean, I just found it kind of funny that it's the Triforce, but you just collect it in 8 pieces and then stitched it together.
It's only the Triforce of Wisdom.
Yeah, it's just very funny. It's not a Triforce at all. It's just an 8 force. I don't even know what an Octaforce. But yeah, I don't know. They're all just the dungeons were just the they're just rooms. There's coloured rooms. That's all they were.
Yeah, I think there was no puzzles either, were they? It was all.
I mean,
pushing that block to the right.
Yeah, I was gonna say the most the puzzle got was like there was either the 2 blocks in the room that you pushed up or down and opened a staircase in the top right. That was one puzzle, or it was the other puzzle where it was blocks going all the way around the room and you push that 1 block in the center on the right, push it to the left, and then it was the staircase.
Yeah,
those are the only those are the only 2 puzzles in the entire game.
So I've previously said I wouldn't talk about items unless a game introduced new ones. So this one does. It has quite a few items that don't appear in any other Zelda game. So it introduces the candle and the magic book and
the Bible
and the the Bible. So I personally like the fact that the magic book increases the power of the magic wand once you get it. Like you don't see that like much in Zelda where one item increases the power of another. Like you do get upgrades and stuff like that, which I guess is the same thing. But I thought it was pretty cool. Anyone got anything to say on the items at all?
Didn't use the magic rod once.
It was pretty good once you got the magic book.
Didn't use it. Didn't see the need to. The sword pretty much one-hit most things anyway, so I didn't see the point. The recorder was cool for that one boss that it was used on.
Oh, yeah.
What was it called? Dig Dogger.
Dig Dogger.
Dig Dogger.
Yeah.
Play
the flute.
That was cool.
I don't know.
Candle, lighting up rooms. The step ladder.
It was like the first instance of like getting items in dungeons that opened up the overworld as well. Like you could get the raft and that.
One thing I will say is, despite obviously being the system of having to select your items constantly, because there was only like 8 of them and you only actually used like 5 of them, I never really got annoyed having to switch items. That was a relatively quick experience, which was nice.
I'll say one thing that annoyed me. Having the sword on the A button, I didn't like that. It needs to be on the B button.
Literally didn't cross my mind at all.
It was annoying me. I was using my item a lot rather than using my sword.
Yeah.
I wonder why that didn't cross my mind. Because obviously, it is being like everything else. I honestly just didn't It didn't like.
Didn't register. with
it,
me.
it does click for me. It's correct, to be honest with you, because
Yeah,
A
same.
on the NES is the main button.
It's the main button on the left.
button.
Yeah.
So that's just the button that you use the most.
I'm
It's
just
like-
used
it's-
to every other Zelda.
Yeah, it's a jump button in like Mario, isn't it? So it's just
Yeah.
it makes sense to me. So favorite and least favorite boss. So I will just get out of the way. Yes, like, there are bosses that appear multiple times, and bosses that just outright get turned into mobs. Like it is ridiculous. Do we have a favorite boss?
I only just realized that Manhandler was even a boss because I forgot because I was so used to him just being a random enemy that was just in the dungeon that I forgot.
I one-shot him.
Yeah, same. I one-shot him and they got the harpies and was like, oh, that was the boss. I didn't realize it was
Oh.
the boss.
That's the end. Yeah, I one-shot him. Goma was really easy because all you had to do was shoot an arrow in his eye. Dig Dogger was really easy when you used the recorder. Gleeok was the only like hard boss, I'd say, when he got like 4 heads.
To be fair, I approached every boss the same apart from Manhandler and Goma because you had to do specific things, and it worked every time because for some reason none of the enemies in this game have that much health, so I would just run right up to him and mash A about 8 times and they'd die. Like I would literally I never once tried to dodge them. I just walked right up to it, took about 4 hearts of damage and mashed A as fast as possible, and then they died.
Did you do that on Manhandler?
No, Manhandler, you
used
have to
the
throw a
bomb.
bomb. Yeah, you have to throw a bomb on him, yeah. That's what I mean, on Goma you had to do the arrow. I assume that was the only way you could kill him. I don't know if you could do it.
think so.
One hit as well. That was
And Manhandler, I only used bombs. I never attempted to hit it with a sword because I just assumed you couldn't. So
you can. So
okay.
I didn't. I tried. Every now and again, I tried to rebel from the guide a bit and just like, right, I'll do this boss while looking. So I tried to defeat Manhandler with a sword, but that boss is so fucking. It's annoying in every game that it's in, but it's the most annoying in this because Link's movement is so limited, and Manhandler for some reason has full 360-degree movement and it's fast as fuck. But you can do it in one hit with a bomb. But if you don't know to use a bomb, you can knock out each of his heads one by one.
I just instinctively throw a bomb down. I don't know why. I just saw it.
I think it's because like I saw like the snappy things, and I thought, oh, it's probably gonna eat the bomb and blow up. Yeah. And then it just blew up and killed him instantly. I was like, oh, I'm done.
I will say fuck Ganon in this game though.
Oh, Ganon sucks.
When the invisibility that he has, there is no way of predicting where he's going to be in the room. You're just fucking guessing until you hit him, and it's the most bullshit
It's really
thing.
easy.
Well, no, there's like 6 positions, but the thing is,
I just stood in a corner.
No, but he can go to. It's not like he rotates. He literally just pings to any single one from around the room, and you just have to hope that he goes to the one that you're next to. That's stupid. That's not good design.
No, it wasn't.
That's just guessing and praying for the RNG.
And it's like you've been teasing this, this villain since the beginning.
Yeah,
and then you just make him invisible. I don't
he was
know.
shit. I also just realized I didn't say my favorite boss. I like the first dragon because he has little legs that move up and down. No, that was pretty good. When he got multiple heads, he stopped being as cool. But
I like Dodongo, but I don't like what they did to him. Like it was a dungeon boss.
It's just
and
a
then he
Triceratops.
appeared 3 times in every dungeon after.
Yep.
I was like feeding him the little bombs, Funny. Yeah. Has anyone got anything more to say about Zelda 1 before we wrap it up?
Play it.
The Dodongo is just a little Triceratops. Why is there a
that is very true.
Like, he's just the Triceratops. He's not anything unique. He is just the Triceratops.
What point are you trying to make?
Just why is he a Triceratops?
I don't know.
What is he a Triceratops? Is anything else? What other game is he in?
Dodongo is in a lot of other games. He's not.
I don't recognize any. I don't remember any Triceratops. Is he a Triceratops in everything else?
Or does he look different? Time, Lewis.
Yeah, but is he a Triceratops?
No, he's just a big lizard.
Well, yeah, that's probably. Yeah, I'm looking at a picture of him. Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, that makes sense. That's not a Triceratops.
What have you got against Triceratopses?
It's just the fact that it was like, I just feel like they were like, right, let's make a cool design, let's make this cool monster, call it the Dodongo, and then it's like, we don't have a design, and then it was like, well, just make a Triceratops, I guess. They didn't try to make anything unique, it's just a dinosaur. At least the dragon. Actually, no, the dragon's just the dragon. They didn't try with this game. I'm sorry. Nah, JK, I'm sorry. No, they did try. I don't want people to actually be mad.
You've got tiny little squares of pixels, and you're complaining about what they did
no,
with
no,
them.
no. People need to remember that I'm kind of joking. Like, I get at the time it was big, and I'm judging the game based on now. Obviously, at the time, I get it. It was a big deal. It really was. I understand. I completely understand why. It's just as of a game like right now, yeah, it's just funny to laugh at it because it's bad. But it wasn't bad back then, I promise.
Okay,
Don't be upset.
That was a bit of a strange rant, I'm not going to lie. That was a strange rant. But we're going to...
What, the Triceratops?
Yeah.
Because it's Triceratops!
Right, okay, we're gonna close it off there. So, for the next Hyrulean Chronicle game, we will be playing the direct sequel to this game, which is Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link, and that'll be out on the 18th of November. Well, still to come this month, we've got our video game book club review, which will hit the channel on the 28th of October. But until then, we shall see you later.
Bye.